FFA members across the country. These 6 special individuals spend a year of their life traveling the country and impacting the lives of thousands of students. Today we are truly honored to have one of these special individuals with us. Your 2012-2013 National Central Region Vice President, Mr. Brennan Costello.
Thank you. Before I get started, please join me in giving a round of applause to these state officers who are rocking and prepared for this convention. Give it up front. All right, yeah. And before I get started, gotta say, I was pumped up by this laser show that started this convention. And I just had a ski, which I know some of you know what that is, like a Mountain Dew times 100. Yeah, that was awesome. And one more thing, if something like a giant N is gonna come hit me, give me a warning, okay? But I am pumped to be here at this convention with you. I've been looking forward to it. And if you are excited to start and kick off this convention, give me your best Boomtown. 1, 2, 3. Okay, you know, I'm like, these guys are like, yeah, Boomtown. These guys are like, what the heck is that? And that guy is asleep. Okay, Boomtown is something that I learned when I was doing one of my favorite hobbies, which is looking through the dictionary. And I came upon Boomtown. And Boomtown, the definition, is a hefty, booming term used to describe something that is awesomely cool. I made that up myself, but Boomtown is just something that we can use when something really cool happens, something awesome happens. A girl comes up here and gives the creed, Boomtown. Somebody does a backflip, Boomtown. That guy finally asked that girl to dance, Boomtown. But here's the thing about Boomtown. It's not no shy town, it's not no quiet town, it's not I'm gonna sit there in my chair and hope this weird guy up on stage doesn't notice me town. It is a boom town, so if you say it, get some boom in your town. If you're excited to kick off this convention, give me your best boom town. You guys got it. Well, something that I think is boom town that I've really enjoyed seeing is as everyone has arrived, seeing everyone looking good in their official dress. You guys look good. I mean, think about it. We've been wearing this jacket for 80 years. This is the 80th anniversary. Name one other clothing item that has not changed style in 80 years. But I love official dress. It's something that really differentiates the FFA from other organizations. But there's one part of official dress that I find really challenging, and that's the tie. Any dudes out there not like tying the tie? Yeah, me too. So you do the whole tie my tie once, and then just loosen it up enough that I can put it on the hanger in my closet and never tie it again. So it's like if you're a senior, you tied it when you're a freshman, and it's looking all sketchy now. Yeah, me too. Now, ladies, you have it easy. You just have to like clip the scarf in the back. Now, some may say that's not fair, but I am so glad that I don't have to deal with pantyhose. That I will take tie to tie over those little monsters any day. But every time I put on official dress and I tie that tie again, it reminds me of one of the first times that I wore a tie. And this was in 2008 at the National 4-H Congress. This is a lot like the National FFA Convention or this convention. We have a lot of great sessions, we go through some workshops, we learn a lot, and at the end of this Congress, we celebrated it with a gala. Gala or gala, it's spelled G-A-L-A, and I didn't know how to pronounce it, let alone what it was. Every time I saw it, I thought it was like a soccer game from South America where every time they score, the announcer goes, goal! So I was like, oh look, galala! Like, I had no idea what it was. Well, I started to find out a few details. I found out you go to a fancy place and you wear fancy clothing. I wore my dad's tie. This thing was old, but not like cool, like hipster, buy it at the thrift shop with $20 in your pocket old. No, this was like pre-Civil War old, and it was a clip-on. We go to hear from fancy people, and we eat a fancy meal at a gala. And that's the part that really concerned me, because the fanciest meal I had been to before this was Applebee's. Now, some of you are like, wait, I thought that was a fancy meal. Yeah, so did I. Pay attention. And to make matters worse, somehow I ended up at the head table with like the important people where everyone can see what you're doing. And as I nervously got to the gala and approached the table, I started looking at the name cards, and the one next to mine said Kristen Haglin. And I had not heard that name anywhere. I had no idea who this was. And I didn't think too much of it because I was just trying to prepare myself for this dinner, and we sat down, and I remember around the table were me and a bunch of guys, which I thought was peculiar, and the Kristen Haglin still hadn't shown up. Well, the dinner got started, and at one point, I'm very concerned on which piece of silverware, there's 47 of them, that I should use to eat this salad when all of the guys stand up. And I really don't know what's going on. I didn't know if this was like a mid-dinner like stretch or like someone's giving a toast or like what's going on. So I just stayed seated. And then a very beautiful young lady who was wearing a crown walked up behind me, sat down next to me, and said, "Who's this sitting next to me?" Learned 3 very important things that day. Number 1 of the most respectable things a young man can do is stand up when a lady approaches a table. Number 2, Kristen Haglin was the 2008 Miss America who was speaking to us that night. And I learned the value of being prepared. Now, when I saw and got the conference schedule and saw I was going to be part of this gala, learning how to pronounce a gala or what it was or some proper dinner manners would have been useful. But I didn't do that. And because of that, I was held back from being at my best. I was very embarrassed. I barely talked after that and pretty much ruined any chance I had with Miss America. I'm sure many of you have had a similar situation, a time when you were not prepared to give your best. I mean, what if we never prepared for any situation? We show up to the field having never learned how to throw a ball or looked at the playbook. We show up to run a marathon having never run a mile. We show up to state convention having no idea what official dress is. Or we come to take the SAT, ACT, or any other school exam having never learned how to read or write. I mean, we would never do these things. Then why do we approach so many other situations in life being just as unprepared? Believe now that each one of you holds powerful potential to do big things in this organization, outside of this organization, and especially after you take that blue jacket off. Each of us holds that potential. But when we don't prepare to give our best, that potential is stifled. And that's just not acceptable. I mean, do we really want to live as less than we're capable of simply because we weren't prepared for it? Or do you want to do what is needed to live at your best, to live an adventure, to engage the incredible potential that each one of you holds? Think about this. Do you want to look back in your life 50 years from now and say, that was fine? Or do you want to say, wow, that was epic, you guys got it, that was boomtown. I want the second option. And if you do too, we need to engage. To engage is to wholeheartedly give effort and take action to reach your best. To engage is to be ready. So when a situation comes along, we can turn this average situation into an epic one. I've learned there's 3 simple ways to engage. Number 1, know that you are stronger than you think you are. Number 2, put in the time and effort needed. And finally, take advantage of your opportunities. I learned my first step of what it meant to engage when I was only 5 years old. Wasn't life great when we were 5? Who misses nap time? Yeah, me too. When I was 5, I'm going to explain to you the golden triangle of 5-year-old happiness, okay? I had a new puppy named Rex. I had a 64 Super Nintendo, way better than 64. And I had a 64 pack of crayons with the little crayon sharpener in the back. The golden triangle for 5-year-old happiness, right there. And then my parents changed my life forever. They signed me up for swimming lessons. I hated swimming lessons. But by far the worst part of swimming lessons was the treading water test. This test required me to tread water in the deep end for 2 minutes. 2 minutes. 120 seconds. In 120 seconds, I can send like 20 Snapchats, make like a Harlem Shake video, or microwave a burrito. It's not that long. But in 2 minutes, I can say I can't, over 100 times. I feared that test. I had convinced myself that there was no way I was physically able to pass it. The day came for that test, and I nervously got into the deep end. I let go of the wall, and I started. And almost as soon as I did, those same feelings of doubt came back up in my mind, and I headed back for that wall. And that's when I hear a splash from behind me. And I turn around, and my mom is in the pool. Now when you're 5, and you're in a dangerous situation like a treading water test, you see your mother, and it's like the one beacon of safety. Like your entire focus is on getting to your mom. It's like you're going down on the Titanic, and that's your lifeboat. Like you're Simba, like running from the wildebeest, and that's your Mufasa. You were trying to get to your mom. And let me tell you, the situation was not pretty. I was crying, I was wailing, I was thrashing around trying to swim. It looked like a sad Taylor Swift music video. I was just trying to get to my mom. And as I was thrashing and wailing and swimming and just trying to get there, I noticed that something was wrong. Because my mom was maybe 10 feet from me. But no matter how hard I cried, thrashed, wailed, or swam, I could not get any closer to my mom. I must have really needed those swimming lessons if I couldn't close 10 feet. And as I'm screaming and wailing, all of a sudden I hear this weird noise come from behind me. But I don't think too much of it, because I'm just trying to get to my mom, and then I see the lifeguards getting my attention. And that's when I realized that a lot like the sound of a microwave going off after a freshly cooked burrito, the sound that I heard was a whistle, which meant that 2 minutes had passed. I'd passed the test. Boomtown! My mom looked at me, and she said, "Brennan, you did it. You are a lot stronger than you think you are. You are a lot stronger than you think you are." What I didn't realize was while I was in the pool, the reason I could never get to my mother was because she was swimming in circles. Really, Mom? I had the power to tread this water and pass this test myself. We face challenges every day. And in our quest to engage, we will be facing even more. And too often when we see this challenge, we start to way overestimate them to be of monstrous size and impossible to accomplish. And then we start to doubt our own abilities. The first step of engaging is understanding that the power within you is much greater than any challenge you may be facing. Where is your challenges now? Where's that deep end? Is it trying that new activity in this organization? Is it running for that chapter office? Maybe it's taking a solo in choir when you know others are listening. Maybe it's standing up to that bully when you don't know what the consequences are, talking about your faith when you know you may be judged, or just being yourself and not worrying about what others might think of it. The first step of engaging is knowing that you have the power and the confidence to overcome any roadblock that gets in your way. You have the ability, and you are much stronger than you think you are. I learned my next step of what it means to engage when I said something I know that all of us have probably either read, said, or heard before. Give me a boomtown if you've ever said the FFA Creed. All right, just like every green hand out there, I had the opportunity to say the FFA Creed. And let me tell you, when I saw this creed, it was like destiny. Because I got this thing memorized, and I knew there was no one better who was gonna say this creed. I thought when I said this creed, my voice was like a combination of Brad Paisley and Morgan Freeman. Angels were raining down from the sky when I said the creed. I thought I was so good at the creed that it was like giving a pickup line. I believe in the future of agriculture, and I believe in the future of you and me, baby. Yeah, it doesn't work, don't try it. But I thought there was no one better at this creed. And I knew I was gonna win any contest that I entered into it, including the district contest. Now, we went to the district contest, or we were getting ready to go, and I was really confident. My ag advisor came up and he asked me, he said, "Brennan, the contest is in a couple weeks. You wanna come in and practice that creed? We can work on it." I I said, no, Mr. Shear, I'm fine. And then my dad, who was in FFA and was an ag teacher, asked me, Brennan, I can help you with that creed. You want to work on it later tonight? I said, no, Dad, I don't need it. Well, the day of the creed contest approached, and I got ready to go into that room and give my creed. I'm like, my attitude was like, I'm going to finish this like a cheesecake. Yeah, there was like no way that I wasn't going to nail this creed. Went in, gave the creed, answered the questions, walked out. I was good. And then all I had to do was wait for the medal ceremony. And let me show you what victory looks like. As I walked into the gym where they have the medal ceremony, made sure I had a spot, nice front, so I could get a good picture as I got my medal, they started announcing the creed speaking finalists. In 10th place, creed speaking. I had nothing to worry about. I wasn't coming till a lot sooner, or a lot earlier, a lot later, where it first comes. And then they announced third creed speaking contest. I kind of checked my official dress in this tie and made sure everything was good. And your champion, creed speaking winner. My name hadn't been called yet. I start to stand up. Chris Block. That's a weird mispronunciation. Chris was actually a teammate of mine who won that day. And what I slowly realized is that when I said no, I was fine to my ag teacher, Chris went and practiced. When I said, Dad, I don't need it, Chris went to practice with his dad. Chris showed me what victory looked like because he put in the time and effort that is needed. My dad always tells me, almost to the point where it gets annoying, and I'm sure you can relate to that, that the only thing that you can control is how you prepare. You can't control your genetics, you can't control your height. Trust me, if you could, it'd be a lot bigger, a lot stronger playing football somewhere. You can't control how other people are gonna act, you can't control your environment. The only thing that we can control is how we prepare. Think about all the different things that you're involved in right now. What needs more time and energy and effort from you? What project or activity have you committed to that needs more time and effort? What dream or goal do you have that needs some effort committed to it? What relationships are suffering because they need more time from you? When we take that second step of engaging our potential and we put in the time and effort needed, then this potential that we have grows tremendously because we put in the time and effort that is needed to be successful. Take that second step of engaging and put in the time and effort that is required. And when we think about people who have lived engaged lives, I mean, we see the highlight reel. We don't often see what happens behind scenes where the time and effort is put in. I mean, think about Michael Jordan used to shoot free throws in an empty stadium. George Strait used to sit on a sidewalk in college and play guitar. And it took Thomas Edison, I'm sure you've heard it, 1,000 tries to make a light bulb. When's the last thing you stuck at something for 1,000 times until you got it right? No one becomes a rock star overnight. It takes time and effort and engaging that potential that you have. I learned my last step of engaging. After I learned my first two, I knew I was strong enough to accomplish it, and I put in time and effort, but I knew I was missing something. And that something I learned came when I was underneath those Wednesday night lights. Because on Wednesday late afternoons in the fall, short, slightly talented, and overly awkward 7th graders played the sport of men, or at least of men who don't have to shave yet, junior high football. Now, if you're a 7th grader, 8th grader, junior higher out there, trust me, you will get taller, you will get stronger, and you will get hair under your arms. Pay attention to the stories for you. Let me paint you a picture of what I looked like when I was in 7th grade. I was about 5'0". If a strong Nebraska wind would blow, I would have to hold onto a telephone pole to not get swooped away. There was no hair under my arms and not much physical difference between my flexing bicep and just standing there. I was a shrimp. But as this shrimp of a 7th grader, I was decked out in football pads for the last and most important game of the junior high football season. This was against our rivals from 10 miles down the road. This was the Super Bowl of the junior high football season. Only the lights stayed on the whole game. Nobody got that joke. And this game was intense. It was in the fourth quarter, we were behind, and time was ticking down. I was comfortably standing on the sidelines, as I had for most of the season. I was fine with being there. It was easy. I mean, no, you couldn't make a mistake or fail the team when you just stand on the edge of the field. And that's when our quarterback went down in a bad tackle. I mean, he got destroyed. And I remember thinking, thank goodness that's not me out there. And then my coach looked at me and he said, Brennan, can you go in there? This was the biggest game of the season. In the fourth quarter, and I, the shrimp of a 7th grader, was supposed to lead the team. I felt like I was back in that deep end. As I jogged out in the field, I almost was blinded by those lights as I jogged underneath them. I didn't even feel like myself when I shouted the play to our teammates. ISO 64, second sound. And we broke for the line. And as I lined up behind the center, I knew I had a choice to make. And all I had to do was say 2 simple words. 2 words I'd been preparing all season to say. And I knew I was strong enough to do it. I had been to every practice, and I had studied the playbook, and I had ran this play before. I knew that I had put in the time and effort needed. I had been to every single conditioning, including summer conditioning. But something was missing. In order to take advantage of that opportunity and say those 2 simple words, I needed courage. Hut, the ball snapped in my hands. I backdrop 3 steps, look to my right, and bury the ball in the gut of our running back as he runs forward. I see him just break through the first line of defense as I see a lineman from the other team coming from the other way. I go to throw a block on him as I see our running back just continue to make it forward, and I get destroyed by this lineman that I try to block. It was like throwing gasoline on a fire, like I got lit up. And as I recovered consciousness from this 250-pound 7th grader that I tried to block, my teammates were hugging me. I looked at the scoreboard, and Gothenburg was ahead, and time was over. Time was expired. Our running back had broken all the way through and scored. And at the time, I thought this was just a glorious junior high football win. But I now realize it was much more than that. This was one of the first times I learned what it means to live with courage. Now you might be thinking, no football player that's worth anything would say no to his coach in that situation. So why do we say no at so many other opportunities that we have in life? Think of all the different opportunities that you are given. Opportunities in this organization. Opportunity to start a new SAE, something you know will take work, but you do it anyway. Opportunities outside of this. An opportunity to try that new event, to do something your friends aren't doing, take a risk. We are all given fourth quarter game-winning opportunities every day. But too often we say no to that opportunity. And we can have an attitude that knows that we're stronger. We are strong enough to accomplish this. And we can put in time and effort and hours of studying and preparing and working. But if we don't live with courage, then we will never be able to take advantage of any opportunity that's given to us. Take that step. Be brave and live with courage to take advantage of opportunities that are laid before you. Now more than any time in history, young people have opportunity. And the coolest thing is that when you do that, when you choose to live with courage, then you allow others around you to do it as well. When you take the steps to engage your potential, you engage the potential of people around you. And that's what the FFA is all about. The FFA believes you have what it takes to rise to these levels. And that belief is sewn into every FFA jacket. On the inside, right-hand side of the FFA jacket, are 2 little black loops. They're just little black loops, but they have a big purpose. They hold the chains for the state FFA degree and the American FFA degree. And those are 2 of the highest awards that you can achieve in FFA. Now these things aren't easy to get. They take years of work, of effort, and of engaging your potential and taking advantage of opportunities. But the coolest thing is that when you choose to be part of this organization, we don't give you your jacket and then measure you and measure your limitations and then give you to those 2 black loops. By choosing to be part of this organization, These 2 black loops are already sewn in. We don't look at your GPA, the size of your parents' bank accounts, your gender, what you're involved in, the backgrounds you come from, none of that. Because we're not concerned about your limitations, we're concerned about your potential. And when we wear this jacket, it should be a statement to our friends, it should be a statement to our family, it should be a statement to our world. A statement that says that we believe we are strong enough to accomplish and achieve. A statement that says we will put in the time and effort needed to be successful. And a statement that says we will live with courage to take on challenges no ordinary student is willing to face. We are FFA members. We wear this jacket, and we have engaged our potential. We should be able to say that 50 years from now, now look back on our life and our time in this organization and say, wow, that was okay. We should be able to say, wow, that was epic. That was a 1, 2, 3. You guys got it. Go out and engage your potential. Thank you very much.